So, Delius, how about we change the subject to something more cheerful? She said with a smile. I see you're watching television again. Are there any programs that you enjoy? Or is our form of entertainment not too entertaining to you? It is very strange, Delius replied, but very useful. I am currently waiting for the beginning of what they call a documentary. It will tell me more about your people. I am hoping this may help me understand. Well, yes. That sounds delightful, Delius. To be honest, I wasn't expecting someone of the warrior caste to be interested in a documentary. Oh, it's starting. Sound on, Delius said, as the room was filled with the voice emanating from the holographic projection. It was well over 3,000 years ago that visitors from among the stars first contacted us here within our system. Scientists on a pilgrimage to expand their knowledge of the universe and map it first made contact with us. Footage which has been seen by every man, woman, and child of our world, the voice announced as images scrolled across the screen. Images of extraordinarily large beings exiting some sort of shuttle, greeting people in suits and clothing that Delius was unaccustomed to wearing. The clothing of Delius's people was very simple, meant to decorate the body or fulfill functions. The garments he wore were much the same as that. A simple stitched pelt that protected his more intimate segments from exposure to the elements and possible contact with harmful plants, as well as a leather belt and sheath from which he kept his sword. But the clothing that his alien friends seemed to be accustomed to wearing was far more intricate and complex, covering much more of their body. Delius had been given an assortment of clothing that he could change into should he wish it. However, he simply found himself accidentally tearing it apart, and so preferred to stay with his own clothing, which did not break so easily. The scientists, in fact, took the opportunity to study his clothing, something that they could perform far more extreme study and tests on, without fear of harming anything alive, or suddenly angering Delius, which they did seem concerned about for whatever reason, though Delius could not truly understand it. I mean, he did come to them as an ally, so he was uncertain of their fear of him, and why they experienced it. Nevertheless, he continued to watch the program. Since that day, science has filled our worlds and our lives, more so than it ever did in the times past. These visitors from the stars brought with them radically advanced technology, speeding up the development of our society exponentially, as well as all of the other planets that orbit the center of our system, which we have all grown to call Matosa, or the core, the grand moon that all life in our star system circulates around. It was with the help of these visitors that we ourselves were able to journey into the stars, and using the technology that they gave us, that we first discovered how different our system was from all of the other systems in the universe, in which most cases there is but a single star and all planets circulate around it. Our ever-expanding knowledge in science led us to question the nature of our own star system, and so research into our core began in earnest. And after nearly a century of research, it was then the most startling truth was unveiled to us, that the core of our star system was not a planet like any other. All that differed it was not its mass size, but the fact that in truth, it was a living being, one so massive that it pulled even stars into its wake. Detected via an advanced system created to study the core over time that detected the beating of this Goliath's heart. It was for countless centuries after that all study of the world pulled to a standstill as we found ourselves incapable of traveling to the surface of this world. But after a very long time and countless scientific advances, a mere 2 centuries ago, or 2 3/4 to be exact, we sent to the core the first anti-gravitational temporal probes and made the most astonishing discovery since we first got our alien visitors. That vast core, surrounded by a gravitational force so powerful that it seemed like it would destroy any life on its surface, carried life itself. The first recorded images upon its surface showing a vast array of life, plants, animals, some of which attacked and destroyed many probes. But after many years of searching, the most world-changing discovery that our people would ever find was finally seen. The first of the Giliac, the species that we have named such from our ancient legends and stories of invincible gods, of unstoppable power and untold beauty. It is there on the surface of the world that draws all others into its parameters, rotating around it, that the Giliac live in peace and harmony with nature, a simple and somewhat primitive society. Though we lost many probes in attempting to form contact with these beings who seemed to possess godlike strength, even their children able to destroy probes built to withstand the harshest of conditions. The pounds per square inch of force required to destroy one of these probes is nearly 20 tons per 1/10 of an inch. And yet, even their children do it with ease, popping our probes like bubbles by accident, believing them toys to play with. It was only after many years of sending these probes that our first significant contact was formed, nearly 3 centuries ago, with one that everyone on our world has come to know as Delius, champion of the gods. Despite his status as a warrior, it was he alone who was able to decipher that our probes were meant to communicate, and formed the first civilized interaction between our race and theirs, teaching us their language, their culture, and even what we have come to know as the story of the end, a time foretold in their ancient lore, in which the world that they inhabit will awaken and devour all that lies within the system, a point at which our discovery and learning about their culture, society, and biology suddenly took a drastic turn, striking fear into the hearts of countless worlds that exist within the system, some even clamoring for the destruction of the core at any cost. and some began to plot what we would call the fall of the gods, the destruction of these near-eternal beings whose existence spans further than that of our system itself, their elders older than the stars that light our sky. And yet they began to fathom their destruction nonetheless, the voice uttered, as the screen grew dark and once again shifted to what Delius had come to know as a commercial break.